When I was a third-year law student at Harvard Law School, I thought, well, I'm bisexual, I think. I could date women, I could date men. My father would be happier if I dated a guy, so I'll just date guys. You know, it seemed so logical. And then I was having a conversation with a woman, classmate, whom I was very attracted to, and I said to her, so, ever thought about women? And she said, well, yeah, sort of, but it wouldn't be good for my career. You know, I want to go back to what you asked me in the beginning of what was it like growing up as a child of a Holocaust survivor. Well, my father actually was lucky and was not in the concentration camps. He actually lived in the forest, and he survived for 2 years in the forest. I think that's why he never wanted to go camping. He's like, who wants to go camping? I've had enough of forests. But he survived as his individual person and then created this new family. It gives me a sense of the joy of every individual person and the integrity of every individual person. And I feel for so long, gay people didn't feel like they could celebrate the totality of who they were because they were just looking for the basic acceptance. That transgender people were ashamed of the fact that they didn't fit into their gender. And I think that even if you don't change someone's mind when you have the conversation, you've changed yourself when you have a conversation in which you're celebrating yourself. So for someone who really believes that his or her daughter is going to go to hell because she's a lesbian, I don't know how much we can do for that person. But for a lot of parents, a lot of people who are religious, they're just uncomfortable. And they don't understand how much this is connected to the integrity of the gay person to live his or her life out as a gay person, or a transgender person to live with the gender that they are actually. And I think if we can get those folks to understand how important it is to have integrity by validating their integrity as religious people, maybe we can start a conversation. Our Constitution is an amazing document, amazing. So you ask, how is it that the Bill of Rights protects some minorities in this country and not others, like LGBT people? Well, the truth is, the rights for those other minorities came only over time, just like the rights for us are coming over time. There was a real shift, I think, that happened in the late 80s, early 90s in terms of people coming out. And then I think that started developing this desire to have real equality and real acceptance. And that's not just acceptance as someone who is different and other, again, this idea of tolerating the other. It was actual acceptance that who we were as lesbian, as gay men, as bisexuals, and ultimately, as the movement expanded, as transgender people, to actually be accepted for who we are completely. Asking for marriage is the ultimate of saying we are as good as a straight couple who wants to get married. And so that was scary. That was very scary for the gay rights litigators in the early 90s when I was involved in any number of meetings. And we were terrified, to be honest, of bringing these cases to the courts because we didn't feel the country was ready for that type of full equality and acceptance. And yet, sometimes the only way to push people to that full acceptance is to ask for it. I mean, the bottom line is, over the next 10 and 20 years, we're not going to change the minds of people who absolutely believe that we are sinful because we're lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgendered. But think about the difference in our society if we're just talking more openly and more honestly and candidly about who we are and what our lives are like.